justice to all. Moment of silence. Okay, thank you. Welcome to Candidates Night. On behalf of Leisure Village Election Committee, I welcome you to the Board of Trustees 2025 Candidates Night. Before we start, I would like all of you to please turn off the ringer on your cell phones. And if you need to make a call or receive a call, please go out in the hallway in the lobby. We'd greatly appreciate that. Also, please do not have private conversations while the candidates or monitor is speaking. Thank you for your kind consideration. Now I'll give you an overview of how Candidates Night will be conducted. Each candidate will have 3 minutes for an introduction bio statement. When you came in tonight, questionnaires were on the card table. Forms were that you could fill out and ask questions for the candidates or for all the candidates. There are 2 wire baskets on card tables where you are to place your questions. 2 of the election committee girls, Susan Shade and Sandy Sabatis, will go and collect your questions from those wire baskets. Questions cannot contain any improper language or personal attacks. Questions can be directed to a specific candidate or to the entire panel. Please mark your form so the monitor can read the question correctly. If your form has not been collected, please raise your hand and one of our girls will go out and collect your form. The candidates will have 2 minutes each to respond to a question that is filled out for all. If it's an individual candidate question, they will have 2 minutes to answer the question. The monitor and timekeeper will keep the candidates on topic to ensure they give their answers in the 2-minute time frame. When there are no more questions, each candidate will be allotted 3 minutes to make his or her closing statement. We would like to be able to adjourn the meeting at 8:30 p.m. This year, we have 6 candidates for 4 open board seats. The candidates are seated on my left in alphabetical order. When I call your name, please raise your hand. We have Harvey Berman, Benji Blakeman, Paulette Collini, Susan Farrell, Debbie Forte, and Kathleen McAndrews. Before we go into the bios, I just want to let you know, the election committee, Laura Perlin will be asking the questions tonight. Laura, raise your hand. I, Alice Slaughter, will be the timekeeper. Janice Iacino and Denise Butcher, raise your hand. They will be reviewing the questions, making sure there's no duplicates. If there are duplicates, they'll paperclip them together. Sandy Sabatis and Susan Shade will be collecting them and reviewing them first for the language that's on the questionnaires. Thank you, ladies. Your ballots have been envelopes. In the mail, you're going to get an envelope that is 8 by 11. It's a white envelope. Please look for it in the mail. You'll be getting it soon. In that envelope, you are going to have all the candidates' bios stapled to your ballot. You're also going to have 2 envelopes, a small envelope in there and a large envelope. When you make your choices, you can pick 4, you can vote for 4 different candidates on one ballot. You're going to cut the ballot off your sheet of paper, and then you're going to fold it and you're going to put it in the small envelope. Once you have that sealed and closed, that small envelope goes into the large letter size envelope, which is a 10-inch envelope. And on that envelope, on the front, it has the administration of our village's address on it. And on the back, it has a place for you to put your name and address. Now that's very, very important to fill out. Because when my election committee and I go up to the office on March 12th and March 19th, we will be updating the voting books. Every owner has a paper in that book by your unit number. And that is how we check and know. We don't know who you voted for, that's secret. We just know that you voted. And we check you off and we sign off and we initial it. That is how that works. If we get more ballots on March 28th, Laura Perlin and myself will go up to the office after 12 o'clock and fill out the books of who voted, the rest of the people that voted. That's very important because we keep track of the numbers. We know how many ballots we received, and we know at the end when we recount again, the numbers have to match. So if we have 650 ballots, at the end I have to have 650 ballots. So there's a lot of work behind the scenes. You have until March 28th at 12 o'clock, not 1 minute after, to submit your ballots. And that a 10-inch envelope, that's a business envelope, there's going to be a lockbox in the lobby. It looks like it's a big locked gray box, and you're going to put your ballot in there. If you can't make it to the lobby, you can mail it in because it's stamped, that envelope, and it also has the village's address. However, it's got to be stamped by Lois by 12 o'clock on Friday. So in other words, the mail has to bring it in by then for it to be counted. Do we have any questions of what to do with your ballots when you receive them? Okay. Okay, so with that said, we are now going to start the bios, and we're going to start with Harvey.
Get my good side back.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Harvey Berman. I live in Gramercy Court. I have a 4-year bachelor's degree, majored in psychology, minored in education. I worked for British Airways for 37 years in a lot of different capacities. Most of it at the ticket office on 5th Avenue, where I got to meet a lot of interesting people. But I also worked at reservations, customer relations, sales, groups, a lot of those things in 37 years. But the important thing is that I spent 10 years as a chief shop steward, and in doing so, I represented a large amount of people, particularly at a 3-year negotiation with British Airways, of which I was one of the 4 on the union side negotiating. And in doing so, I learned a lot about representing people, finding out what their priorities are, finding out at the negotiating table what they would accept and what they wouldn't. And so I have a lot of experience representing people, which is what this board should be doing. So having said that, I'm hoping that with the other people who get elected on, we can work towards that goal and make this a more interactive with the owners board and improve it. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Benji Blakeman.
Good evening. My name is Benji. And the history of me for the last 40 years is I was an elementary school teacher in New York. With that, I taught mostly science. And in my career, it also branched out. I was the union rep for my school building for 25 years. And also in the city, I was the arbitration advocate for the union. I was also on a contract committee with the city for the union, and probably several other things for the union. There are so many things in 40 years, you don't remember all the things you've done. Also for the city of New York, I was on the science committee. We worked on building science curriculum. Also, our curriculum was good that the state asked me to work with them on one of the curriculum committees. Most of this work was committee work, and that's very important for this job on the board. Everything on our board is a committee work. We have to work together to get the decisions made, to bring it to the owners and for the residents, and to make things better here. I was on the board briefly to fill in a vacancy about 4 years ago, and that was very enjoyable. I enjoyed that, and I saw how the board worked. Since then, I've been working sort of behind the scenes in the village. I'm working on the Personnel and Labor Committee, where we deal with hiring and advising the board about personnel matters. I recently was asked to join the ADR committee to help resolve the issues with the members when they have issues as they progress their complaints. So we're on that. Thank you. Also, I was running the CCTV until Optimum stopped functioning it, and I've been putting it online on Facebook right now, and also I'm trying to work on getting a YouTube channel up and functioning, hopefully live, but we're still working on that. So again, I've been in the village, I love the village, and I'm going to do everything I can to make this a good place and to keep it as good as it is, and even better than it is right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Paulette Carini.
Hi, I'm Paulette Carini. Everybody knows me as Letty. You can call me that, just don't call me Stinky. A little bit of my background is, it's mostly in law. When I graduated high school, I worked for the Federal Reserve Bank. I was bonded, it was very exciting. And then I went from job to job looking for my niche. And I found it in law. I loved it. I was going to school at night. I had 2 jobs. It was very busy. But the law caught my attention. It was everything I wanted. Organization, orderliness. I worked in every aspect of law, from general business securities, general securities law, to antitrust with Microsoft, to, in the 70s, the late 70s, it was asbestos in buildings. And who knew that 30 years later, that would cross with the client that we worked with before our firm went defunct was Silverstein Properties in the World Trade Center. And it all had to do with asbestos in buildings. That's why it collapsed the way it did. But just to give you an idea of where I go to research. I love taking depositions home and reading them. I like to get the nitty-gritty. I like to know the answer. I like to know why, and I'll do research to find out why. Rather than talk off the top of my head, I'd rather know why. As far as living here, I came here by accident, and I decided to stay. I love volunteering. I volunteered for just about everything. I was spreading myself a little thin. I am a water aerobics instructor, and I joined all the clubs, and I have ideas about, now I'm the chairperson of the pool, and that has opened up another area for me to help people. I want to help people. I want everybody to be as excited about living here as I am. 1 minute?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't really have much more to say other than that, unless you want to know how tall I am, which I'm not. But I do have great hair, so thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Susan Farrell.
Always happens. Can you see me at the back? I should have brought a little box with me or something like that.
They can't hear you, Susan.
You can't hear me?
Now we can.
Jolly good. Okay. I've been a member of the community. Oh, my name's Sue Farrow. Okay. I've been a member of this wonderful community for 23 years. And
Yeah, they can't hear you. Take the microphone off and hold it right up to your...
You have to hold it right to your mouth.
can I break into a song? Can you hear me now?
Yes, much better.
Okie dokie, righty-ho. Anyways, I'm Sue Farrow. I've been here for 23 years. As you can probably tell from the accent, I'm from across the English pond. I was born in London, and I spent 25 years in Wales, which I loved. I'm a retired teacher of earth science and environmental science. So obviously I'm very interested in the environment in the village. We have such a wealth of beauty in the village. Anyway, enough about that. I've also got a master's in counselling, and I think that if I get elected, that will obviously help a lot. My greatest strengths are in communication, for sure. Not just giving out information, but also researching. As Letty said, you need to do researching if you're going to make good informed decisions, and that's what I aim to do. I'm also good at listening, funnily enough, and I think that is very, very important in a community, to actually hear what's going on from the grassroots. And that is important because it just, from my own experience, when I've said something and there's been no feedback, that really ticks me off. So I think communication is the key. I do have a sense of humour, which I think will probably come in handy. Oh, 1 minute. Okay. I was a previous trustee 8 or 9 years ago. I was the chair of the neighbourhood reps and also chair of the quality of life when it was a programme and not a paid position. I'm very grateful for the community, and I'd just like to close by having a quote, reading a quote. This is why I've got the paper. Associations succeed when they cultivate a true sense of community, active community involvement, and a culture of building consensus. And that is wonderful. The end.
Thank you. Thank you. David Forte, please.
My name is Debbie Forte. I've been a property manager for 40 years. I did communities where I did condos and co-ops. I did financial management for them, and I took care of all their finances. That's why I want to become a trustee, because I want to take care of the finances for the condominium. I think that we're lacking in the finances, and that needs to be taken care of. I think there needs to be more accountability with the finances, and that's why I'm interested in becoming a trustee. I've lived here since 2016. I think there also needs to be more accountability for our manager. I think that he's not held accountable for the things that he does. I don't think that he's held accountable for the things that he does, and I don't think that he realizes that he works for us, we don't work for him. Yes. I've lived here since 2016 with my husband, and we like it here very much. I think we also need to have accountability for the workers that work for us, and we need to make some changes with the workers that work for us. I think we need to work on the union contracts. I think that we need to go over them before we sign them. No, Morris. No, Morris.
Take a second. That's okay.
Let me take it. I'm mostly concerned about the finance of the condo. There's a lot of things that are coming up. There's going to be higher electric bills, there's going to be the water bills, there's going to be other things that we need to answer, and we need to just look at the other things that are going on in the condo. I've been on the budget committee for 3 years, and I know that being on the budget committee, there's things that really we shouldn't be paying. So I think that's what my main focus is right now. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Kathleen McAndrews.
Good evening. My name is Kathleen McAndrew.
Can't hear you, can't hear you.
My name is Kathleen McAndrew. I'm very happy to be here. I'm here because of the many problems I feel we have in our village. Excuse my papers, but I'm not a great public speaker.
Maybe you want to hold the mic so you're a little louder.
Is that better?
Yeah.
We have endured an us versus them situation for some time. Poor decision and personal agendas have created financial burdens for us all. I believe I have the experience to help make a difference. I've worked in retail management for 20 years as a store manager, district manager, and corporate training manager. I've supervised over 100 people. I have personnel experience, I have budgeting experience, I have facilities management experience. All of this, I think, would be great in a trustee. I also have 20 years experience in legal. I'm a certified litigation and real estate paralegal. Also issues that we have had in the village and could use someone with a little experience on the board. One of the things that I agree, of course, with the idea of communication and accountability, and one of my goals would be to create and or review employee review and employee job descriptions. I don't think you can hold people accountable for the jobs that they hold if you don't know what the job is. So I would like to get some kind of procedure so that we know what their job is, hold them accountable, and have a review process. And I guess that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we're going to do the questions now, and we will start with Harvey right now.
Well,
before we start, can we get the microphone and pass it back and forth?
Of course.
Would that be better?
Go ahead, sure, why not?
Bring it in. Yeah. Just be careful of the wire, please.
I am. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, hear you now. Oh, okay, yeah. All righty, bear with me, everyone. Okay, the amenity is busing vital to many owners and probably an important factor when they decided to buy into LVA. What are your thoughts on busing?
I think I made my, is this working?
Yes, it's working.
I think I made my thoughts clear on the Facebook site, and that was that it is vital for some of the people in here. A lot of the people use it. However, in looking it over on the board, it was being looked at as whether it was affordable or not, because as you know, we're in a numbers crunch. So it was a matter of usage versus affordability. However, in bringing it to the attention of the owners when I was on Facebook, we had an open meeting where there was a lot of back and forth. I seem to have stimulated some conversation about that even the arbiter and my ADR recognized. And because of that, you owners spoke up and you caused the board to change its opinion on the buses, and they continue. So that's the kind of cooperation I want to see between the board and the owners. I'd like to see more of that.
Okay. All right, we're going to repeat the question for you, Benji. The amenity busing is vital to many owners and probably an important factor when they decided to buy in LVA. What are your thoughts on busing?
I think that the busing is not an amenity, it's a necessity. It may not be 5 days a week, but we still need to have it for the community members who don't drive or temporarily can't drive. It needs to be there in some fashion or another. I know it's very expensive, the insurance, and that's something that the board really needs to work on. And we need to look at it as a necessity and keep it there. There may be other things that are amenities versus necessities, but I think the bus is a necessity, and we need to keep it in some fashion or another.
Thank you. Okay. We're going to ask the same question along to everyone. Would you like me to reread it, or are you okay?
I pretty much got it. I think it is a necessity, and I think it's a necessity for the people who need it most. The most needy among us ride these buses, not the ones among us that have a car. So I think it's important that we go to them and ask them what their needs are and figure it out for them. Find out, we tried a new program recently, find out among them if it's working. If it's enough for them, do they want more, and how we can implement it.
Thank you.
I like this
Do
game.
you need me to repeat it?
No, thank you.
Okay.
I agree with my colleagues here, and I think, you know, there for the grace of God go I. At the moment, I'm lucky enough to have a car. I'm lucky enough to be able to drive the car. I'm lucky enough to have a car, but I know that there will be a time where I have to give up the keys, and I would really, really love to know that there is a form of transport available. I was, as I told you, I was brought up. I was brought up in London, and we always had buses, and buses were just brilliant. So I think, yes, it's a necessity. Thank you.
Thank you. We couldn't hear you, the phone is on. We gave instructions at the podium. There is to be no talking, please. If you cannot hear, I have Susan and I have Sandy, that they can see. Raise your hand and they will address me that we need to have them speak louder. But I can't have Susan or one of my trust candidates up here trying to talk and explain their position with talking in the audience. Thank you. And also the telephone, you were told to turn it off.
Can you give them that microphone? It seems to be louder.
If they need to talk into the microphone, like I said, raise your hand and Sue and Sandy will address the situation.
We're talking about your microphone, Alice.
This is very loud.
I know.
Okay, but I understand that, but I also have a very strong voice. And the point of it is, Laura needs to have a microphone to be able to ask the questions.
I have a big mouth, I can drive.
Where were we?
We're with Deborah Forte.
Yes.
Deborah, do you need the question refreshed?
No.
Okay. I think it's a necessity, and I also was on the budget committee when this was an issue. And I believe that it's something that absolutely needs to be done in the village. We absolutely need a bus. And I agree with that. I think that needs to be done in the village. I think it's an amenity, but it's also a necessity.
Okay, thank you. Kathleen? Do you need me to repeat it?
No, I'm good. I don't know how anyone can disagree with any of this. Of course it's a necessity. Of course we need it. Of course we want it. I bought here with the idea that when my time comes and I can't drive anymore, there would be buses available. I think we need to prioritize and, real hard looks at the budget every year to make sure that the items that are important to us are important to the board and that they get taken care of appropriately.
Thank you. Thank you.
Kathleen, hold the mic. You're going to start the next question.
Okay, now being as we have questions that really go out to everyone, I thought we might have had a few specifics to ask certain people, so we're going to go right down the line. Hopefully you remember. If not, just let me know, and I'll repeat the question. Okay. And as much as we are already paying for garbage pickup in our taxes and not getting reimbursed, what are you going to do about getting rid of waste management and have the town pick up? And please do not use the excuse that they only pick up once a week. Am I making?
Not exactly sure. Are you talking about Lakewood picking up garbage?
Yes.
As far as I know, and because I'm not currently on the board, I don't know all that much, but we're in litigation with the township over that very issue. And we, for some reason, took the step of, we have a separate attorney that's involved in that litigation. So I think you have to, I don't know where the litigation stands. I don't know what particular issues are involved in it because that's not information that's available to us. So it would be a matter of research, a matter of what our options are, in terms of litigation or not. And I know there's other options for trash removal. I know Village West, their own people do the trash removal. So, I'd have to see at the time where we are in the litigation and what our other options are.
Okay, thank you.
I'd have to look into it and see whether it would be advantageous to have Lakewood do it, or whether or not we can get out of the contract with Waste Management. We have to see what it would be to our advantage financially. It would be whether we would be able to do it better with Lakewood doing it, and if we could get out of our contract with Waste Management.
Okay, thank you.
Well, being number 3, there's not really that much that I can add, except that I know the litigation has been going on for a long, long time, and we seem to be banging our heads against a brick wall with regards to trying to get any feedback from Lakewood. And when I first came here, I believe I'm right in thinking that we did our own in-house. And to be quite frank, that seemed to work. I mean, I was a newbie here, so I really wasn't, into all the nitty-gritty of what the village was with regards running. But if we could look into that again, I would think that would be a good way to go. And also, as somebody else said, do research into other companies, perhaps. Get a broader variety of input. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I believe part of that question was get rid of waste management in favor of maybe the township, but that would only be once a week. We can't do once a week. We can't do once a week. One thing I notice about people in general, we don't like losing our amenities. We don't like losing our conveniences. And that's a convenience for us. Now, it occurred to me that, yes, waste management has to go. That's something I'm certain about, because I'm tired of cleaning up after them. They're the cleanup committee. I go out there with a broom and pick up after them. But it occurred to me that there has to be, in some way, an up-and-coming waste removal company that's looking for a contract like this. And I'm wondering if we could, I don't know how this operates as a board member. I'd have to talk to the board about how that goes. But it just occurs to me that there's got to be somebody hungry enough to want to pick up for a decent price. So that's something I would look into exploring.
Thank you.
Well, the crux of this matter right now, I think, is is Lakewood and how much they are going to pay us for what we're doing instead of them. This has been long and drawn out, and if I'm not mistaken, it's not just waste management, it's snow removal, all the other services that we do here, that we pay for, that we're supposed to get reimbursements from the town. So this is not just waste management, not just trash removal, it's snow removal and everything else that the town does. So yes, we really need to look into that to see how much money we will be getting reimbursed to us. And then we can make a decision as a board and with the input of the owners of how we should go. It should not just be left up to the board. I see the board in the past year has had to walk things back and talk to the owners and come back. If we talk to the owners first, this is the dilemma that we're having. This is what we can do. Yes, some things may be private on the board because there are still negotiations on that we can't share because there is that fine line between sharing everything with the owners and the confidentiality of contracts. But we do need to share it with the owners and have them have their input, like they've had for other things, and the board has changed their mind. But again, we have to go back to the reimbursables from Lakewood to see where we could go and how much money we have to move forward.
Thank you.
I agree with everything that is said. I will just add a couple of things. One, Lakewood has for over a decade owed us a lot of money for the agreement that was done for us paying a contractor to do the garbage and them not coming in. And there was an agreement, and we've been in litigation with them for over a decade to get the money they owe us, and they ain't giving it up. That's one thing. The second thing is, unfortunately, there are very few companies, waste management companies, only about 3, that will even consider handling a place this large. And unfortunately, they all charge extravagant amounts of money. So we do need to find an alternative to this, whether it's going back to doing it ourselves, if that's feasible, getting the money from Lakewood, or settling for once a week if we make a new agreement with Lakewood. But yeah, it's a problem. I'm hoping. I think it was Sue who mentioned that there might be an upcoming a company who wants to get in at the beginning, would give us a lower rate because they're just starting off. If we could find something like that, that would be great. But that's something if I was on the board, I'd ask the homeowners to help us with, to do some investigation and see if they can come up with a possibility of another waste management company we could contact.
I think I'm allergic to mics. I don't like them.
Don't
Okay, here's a question again. It's for everybody. I'm going to go to you first, Sue.
Oh,
Okay. Without providing specific details, give us 3 thoughts on what you would do to improve things in the village.
Could you repeat that?
Sure will. Without providing a specific detail, give us 3 thoughts on what you would do to make improvements in the village. I mean, I guess you have to do specifics, but
Thank
however.
you. Well, there's lots of things, some of which have already been mentioned, but I would say, first of all, accountability of the workers. I don't think I'm alone in the fact that I see, trucks just whizzing by backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards, doing sweep all when there's loads of stuff to be done. I've also seen them hiding in dead ends, all twiddling with their cell phones. I'm under the guise of walking the dog, but my eyes are everywhere. Anyway, so that would definitely be one. And linked to that would be cell phones. I know, that was one. 2 would be to get more community involvement. We've got almost 4,966 people living in the village according to the 2020 census. That's bigger than Point Pleasant Beach or whatever. Anyway, we've got a lot of people. And just think of all the wisdom, the experience that we've got here. So that would be one thing also that I would try and do, is to tap all this expertise that we have. And that would help the community gel together, I'm sure. If you feel you're invested, it does help the community as a whole. The third thing I would do would be to improve communication. be more open.
I don't mean to cut you short, but I think we need to move on.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, so that's it, boom, thank you.
Deborah?
Keep it for your closing.
The first thing would be accountability, which I said before. The second thing would be that we would have to be, I would rather see resolutions brought to the public before they're given out to us, not be sprung on us, and then be voted on. I think that's something that should be done. That's the second thing that I think is really important. I think there has to be more communication between the board and the owners. That's the third thing that I think should be done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Kathleen.
I think, there's lots more than 3 things, but everyone has mentioned accountability and communication. And for me, accountability, I want to get closer to our managers. I think, we complain bitterly about the employees, but the employees are, the supervisors are supposed to be supervising. So, there's several ways we can ensure that that happens. And we get job descriptions, we hold people to their duties. If they don't, giving out blanket job raises to everybody is crazy in my mind. You do it on a basis where if you've done a good job, you deserve a raise. If you haven't done a good job, you don't get a raise or you get fired. And one of the other is everyone's talked about communication. And to me, one of the biggest gripes I hear, and I'm one of them, is that nobody ever calls you back. Nobody. Call and call and call. And I think we can do a lot better on that, and there's some ways to do it. Again, accountability, that if our owners are having problems, we need to be able to hear it and address it with the person who has the problem.
Thank you. Can we get the please?
Is this me?
Yeah.
My next. Everything they said, yes, accountability. My problem is, it seems to me sometimes that we're deferring to management on how to run the place. My vision would be a town hall meeting, which they think their open board meetings are town hall meetings. They're not. Let's all come together, bring your own coffee, your own donut if you want, and sit down and get a list of what's coming down the pike for us. Like she said, nobody likes being sprung, a $100 raise being sprung on them, or an assessment being sprung on them. I also would like to, this way we can prioritize, then give it to the board and management, and they can say, well, we don't have enough money for this, but we do for this. So let's put this on the back burner and accomplish this, and then return to that, find a way of making the money to do that. Because we could still make money. There are ways to make money. What's the other thing I wanted to say? Damn, I hate getting old. What was the other thing I wanted to say? I can't think of it. It'll come back to me. But it's good. It's good.
Save it for your follow-up.
Benji?
3 things. The first thing would be communication with the owners. In several ways, as I've said before, at meetings, we should have meetings with the owners before many of the resolutions. Some resolutions may have to deal with emergencies. So that's why we have a board, to deal with emergencies. But for all the things that affect us on a regular basis, there should be communication at a meeting, several meetings. Also, the board should have one designated person who responds and answers all emails and phone calls from the people who want to talk to the board members. And that person should bring it up to the board at their regularly scheduled meetings and get back to the person. Even if it's, we weren't able to talk about this time, but it's still on our agenda, we're gonna work on it, just so people say, we've gotten back to, they're hearing me, is a person I can talk to. So that's very important. Also, the final thing is communication with a community, build up a community. There are a lot of things I see since in the 5 years I've been here, there's more and more litter on the paths. More and more owners not cleaning up after their dogs. We need to build community that we see something, we do something about it. Not just complain, the board needs to take care of it, it's also us. This is our community. There are certain things that we can do as owners and residents as well. And bring it up to the board as well to see. Maybe they can facilitate things to build community. So those are basically the three things that I would look at.
Thank you.
I like the discussion about accountability. One of the ways I wanted accountability was when we have a contractor who does half a job because they go out and work crews and they don't have the supervisor of their work crew go back in and do a last check to make sure everybody was done and everything was done. And I feel that's something that should be negotiated at the negotiations with the maintenance workers. That's one thing. I also think that the board members need some accountability for their actions, and I don't think I need to go into that. But when you start doing things that are in violation of the bylaws, ethics, and the Radburn Act, that doesn't show much accountability. That's my thoughts.
Thank you. Okay. You know what, Harvey, why don't we start with you and then just go down this way again?
Sounds good. Make it an easy question.
What would you do to get more residents to attend board meetings and to trust the board?
The second question is a lot more difficult than the first. The first one, I tried to do something about it when I first got on the board last May. And I suggested in an email to the president that the morning meetings only be used as discussions with the owners and not have any important resolutions or meaningful resolutions done in the morning meetings because they're not attended as well as the evening meetings. And that got taken. They started doing that. However, they didn't follow through on things, I think that hopefully with the new people coming on, and if I get on, that we can do things to turn things around that will improve the quality of life in here. I think that we need people on this board that do have ethics.
Could you please repeat the question?
Question is, what can you do to get more residents to attend board meetings and trust the board?
Again, with Harvey, I agree that any elected board member should have integrity. That's very important to everything. And it's very important that when everybody votes for the board members, they look for people with integrity, the people who love this village, and the people who can work together. There are people who say, I can do something. One person cannot do something. That's why we have a board. We have to work as a team. Yes, we won't always agree. We will have arguments, but we will ultimately come to some decision, and that's how a board works. So first, we need to make sure the board works, and that's with the help of the community. And yes, we need to have more meetings. We can have it come through clubs and other committees. We can have more clubs. Start a club and have the board members come with them. Have a monthly meeting with each club. So if we don't have one meeting, have the clubs invite board members to talk. Have a board member, have all the board come to the pool when you have pool meetings. Every committee, every club should invite the board at least once a month to talk about their needs. And then we could also just have committees of people who want to get together just to talk to the board. We could do that once a month. So we need to work together as a committee, as a community, to get the board to work with the community, not just as a figurehead of the community.
Thank you. I think that's the toughest question you've asked, how to get people interested. They say that between 400 and 700 people vote at any given election. And we have like 2,400 residents here. And what are the other 2,000 doing? Are they apathetic? Yes, they're working, I'm sure they are. But that brought up, recently I am the new chairperson of the pool, and I recently had to phone everybody to see if they still wanted their spots on the pool monitors. And they're dropping like flies. And that's a volunteer position. And they're dropping like flies for one reason. They don't like the way they're treated, and I don't blame them. So my view would be, do those town hall meetings more like a fireside chat. Let them get to know us and see how it operates. See how much say they're gonna have as an owner, rather than, lie to them or... Another thing that disturbs me is we're volunteers here. All of us, we volunteered to do this. You elected us. Majority rules. So the majority said that we're good enough to be on this board. You have to trust us. That's what I want. I want people to know they can trust me, they have a friend in me. I'm gonna listen. And I'm gonna do for them what they need to get done. And to get them here, I'll work on it. That's another thing. I don't know how that's gonna be.
Thank you.
So to get people to come to meetings, do you know what went through my mind? Do you know what went through my mind to get people to meetings? Donuts.
Only if they come.
No, I'm joking, but that's what went through my mind. We did used to have donuts, yeah. I thoroughly agree with what's been said. Community involvement. People like to feel needed. People like to feel heard. I know I do. And I've often thought how nice it would be to have a trustee have like an open house. I'm here in room 1 from 10 to 12. Come and meet me, come and, give me your concerns. I also think it's a great idea to designate somebody on the board to deal with the incoming and outgoing communications, to centralize it so that people do feel heard again. With regards to trust, I think we need to have, on the board, we need to have the integrity. We need to be authentic. What you see is what you get. And also work as a team. There's no I in the board. There's no I in community. It's we. And I think that's the way to go.
Thank you.
I don't know how to get them here, but I know that they need to know that the board is somebody that you can talk to. that we answer our emails and we answer our phone calls. That seems to be the problem now. They don't get answers to things when they call, and they don't get answers to emails. You always hear people saying, I emailed the board and I didn't get an answer. I think that's wrong. I think they need to know that they can talk to us. And that's a big problem here. There's no communication between the board and the owners. And that's something that needs to change.
Thank you.
Trust is something that's earned, it's not given. So as a new board coming on, we have to earn the trust of the community. And we earn trust by listening and by accomplishing. And as everyone has said, we need to have them feel that we hear them and that we understand the problem, that if it's fixable, we fix it. If it's not, we can't. But that they are heard, they are not talked down to or, pushed aside as, complainers, whatever. That we hear them and that we're willing to at least look into the problem and get back to them with the answer. If it's yes or if it's no, we need to let them know.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, at this time, we're going to take a 5-minute break. The coffee and tea should be ready. If you would like to get up and get a cup of coffee, help yourselves. Stand up, get coffee if you would like to. We'll continue the questions in 5 minutes.
I was asked a question on intermission, that some people do not know the seats that are vacant. Okay, so right now, Timmy Ring is not coming back. He's very ill. He has leukemia. Land Wilder's not coming back. Tom Haskell's not coming back. And the other vacancy belonged to Harvey, which Sue Farrell is now filling in. So those are the four seats you have. Again, when you get your ballot and you read the resumes and you make your choices, you do not have to vote for 4 people. You can vote for 1, you can vote for 2, 3, but the most people you can vote for is 4. There also will be on your ballot a place for the Radburn Act demands us to have a write-in section on your ballot. So there also is a write-in section on your ballot. When I conferred with Lois today in the office, we need to call out anything that is in the write-in section of the ballots, and it must be put up on the whiteboards. Okay? So, I am inviting you personally to March 29th, Saturday. My election committee will be here, opening up the ballots. We will be calling out the votes. That's Saturday, March 29th here at 1 o'clock till we're done, which usually is between, depending upon how many responses we get. And this was brought up also with one of our candidates here tonight. Out of a village of 2,300 people, 1 vote for each unit. We're lucky if we get 600 and some odd votes. Okay? That upsets my committee, and it upsets me, because I really, this year we have the opportunity to shape our board for the next couple of years. We have big issues that are facing this village. So make your choices wisely, and please vote. Either mail it in, it's already stamped, it's already addressed, or drop it off in the lobby of Buckingham Hall.
And make sure.
I'm sorry, the administration building. Sorry.
Make
sure they put their name on that envelope.
And make sure on the letter size envelope, that's a number 10 envelope. I can't put your name in the book that you voted. I don't know who you voted for because we're not opening that up. But I'm just going to use myself as an example. If I don't put my name or my husband's name on the back of that envelope, we're not going to get credit for voting. So if I received 650 envelopes, I can only count 649 votes. So don't be afraid to put your name on the envelope in the back of that 10-inch envelope, because the small envelope inside has your vote, and it has no name on it. So when our girls open up those ballots, we don't know who voted for who. That is serious. Your vote is confidential. And it's a lot of work that we go through to make sure it's confidential. So please, please vote. I have one question. Stand up so I can hear you.
Hi, my name is Lisa. Is it one vote per household, or can it be my husband's?
Yes, each unit can have one ballot, but on that ballot you can vote for 4 people.
One.
Okay, your unit, one vote, but this year on your ballot you can vote for 4 people. But you can't duplicate it and duplicate it and duplicate it, because we're going to catch it.
One vote per address.
Okay? Thank you very much. We're going to continue. Yes. I can't hear you.
What if you get a ballot, one ballot, and you're allowed 4 votes, and it has 5 votes on it? What would you
Okay,
do
so
with that ballot?
Throw it out.
your ballot is going to have Harvey's name, Benji's name, Paulette's name, Sue's name, Debbie's name, and Kathleen's name on it. So whoever you want, you check them off. Okay? Either check it, because their name, and there's a line next to their name. So you either exit if you want Harvey, you exit, and you have 3 other choices who you can vote for. But you must exit off so we know who you want.
What if you exit 5?
No, please.
No good.
When you get your ballot, like I said, it will have the 6 candidates' names and a write-in line. So out of those 6 people that are on that ballot, you can vote for 4. You can vote for 1, you can vote for 2, you can vote for 3, but the most you can vote for is 4.
That answer. Yeah. If she votes for 5, it's no good.
If you make a mistake and you vote for 5 people, I can't count it.
It's disqualified.
It's disqualified. Yes.
Hi, could you just repeat the 4 people who are leaving the board?
Repeat it? Okay.
Thank you.
Timmy Ring is not rerunning. He has leukemia, he's very sick. Glenn Weiler is not coming back. Tom Haskell's term is up and he's not coming back. So is Glenn's term up and Timmy's term is up. Now Harvey resigned because of the issues, but Harvey wanted to rerun, so his name he's here tonight and he can rerun for the board. Okay, so those are the 4 seats that are empty. The candidates, the trustees that are still there are Judy Mapes, our wonderful Judy Mapes, Sandy Accamano, and Tom Quartarachi. Okay, those are the 3 that are staying. Okay, so let's shape our board good for the next years. Thank you.
Who wants to be first? Okay, well, here we go. He just said, okay. All right, here's the question. How would you handle a situation if you are in disagreement with management.
Oh my God, my knee-jerk reaction, do you want to?
Yeah, I'm going first. I'll pass it down. I'll tell you what, let him do it. Do it, yeah, just pass it this way after.
Watch out, she
I'm not going to vote for you now, Margaret. My knee-jerk reaction is to tell them the money flows from us to you, not the other way around.
Yes.
I think it's from the day I moved here, and I had to go to administration to get permission. I wanted to find out if I needed permission to do something. The person who greeted me was the most arrogant little shit I ever met in my life. And I was trying to speak as nicely, you see how I could talk to you, but I tried to speak as nicely to her as I could. And she didn't do any better with the next person who came in. The poor woman was like shaking, like she was in school and she did something wrong. So I didn't appreciate that. But I didn't complain about her or anything. I just knew I didn't have to deal with her anymore. But I think I'm tired of hearing not my job. What was I going to say? Oh God, I hate getting old. But I'm the resident here. My peers are on this board, if I'm on the board. They're my peers, they're the people I'm answerable to. You're the people I'm answerable to. I'm not answerable to them. And they know what their job, whoever said about the job description, I think that's brilliant. Because then they can't say it's not my job. Ignorance of the law is no excuse for breaking it.
Thank you. Okay.
Please repeat the question, please.
Oh, sure. How would you handle a situation if you are in disagreement with the management?
The management works for the board, so we have to take care of it as the board, make a decision, and let the management know what the board's decision is.
I agree with Benji. If you mean by management, what Tom Claus has control over, then you know that he is an employee, okay? Just like the other employees, and the board makes the decision and tells the employees how to handle it. So how I would handle it is treat management like they have to listen to us, not the other way around.
Thank you.
Me again. I agree with what's been said. We are resident advocates. We just happen to be sitting on the board, but we are the voice piece of everybody here, of the residents. We should be echoing what the residents want. And that includes, as my learned colleagues say, I like that, we're the ones in charge, not Tom Claus. Tom Claus has experience and stuff like that, and he makes decisions or puts forward decisions based on his experience, but ultimately it's us that make the decision. So yeah, he's an employee.
Thank you.
We are the bosses.
Thank you.
What's the question?
The question. How would you How would you handle a situation if you are in disagreement with the management?
Okay, we're in charge, the management is not in charge, so he would have to go against us, and we're one entity together, so it would be us against them. If you look at the flow chart that's in the rules and regulations, the Board of Trustees is on top, management is below us. We would have to go against them.
Good point.
Thank you.
I mean, that's pretty obvious. Everyone has stated the fact that Board of Trustees is on top. But it's also why I would want job descriptions so that people cannot say to us, not my job. If it is your job, then you're going to do it, or you won't have your job.
Thank you. I didn't have to answer, Deborah? Yeah, I did. Oh, yeah, okay. I'm losing myself here. Because I want everybody here to breathe. Okay. All right, who wants to go first this time?
Let Harvey go first.
Okay, Kathleen. In what areas of the budget do you see problems with? And what suggestions do you feel should be looked into?
There's hardly an area that I don't see improvement that we could make. Again, we need to delve into it deeply, but our legal is one of them. I don't know why we have two attorneys. I can guarantee you that our attorney is double billing for the work that the litigation attorney is doing with Lakewood. Uniforms, I mean, I'm trying to think off the top of my head. There's a whole bunch of things that really should be picked apart and you know, as we said, prioritize what's important and what isn't.
Thank you.
What I see is overtime, salaries, roads, work that's being done here, work that's not being followed through on. I'm trying to think of other things that I know from the budget committee. It's on the top of my head and I can't think of it. Salaries are a big thing. Bonuses shouldn't be done. They shouldn't get bonuses in the office. I think they get a salary and I think that's enough.
All right, thank you.
We're in unprecedented times. And I think whoever gets on the board is just, there are some absolutely awful decisions that are going to have to be made. I mean, we're being hit from the outside by MUA with their irrigation water, by First Energy, by cost of building materials, everything. The insurance, I mean, good Lord. I mean, the amount that we have to spend is just, it blows me away. So, you know, I think unprecedented times calls for unprecedented measures. And I don't know, I'm not a financial wizard. I'm a wordsmith. But to me, perhaps a good overhaul of the budget, just to pick it apart. And I've heard also that the auditor perhaps leaves a little to the imagination. I don't know. It's something I've heard, but I can't verify. So perhaps I shouldn't have said it. But anyway, unprecedented times. Whoever's going to be making decisions, it's going to be hard. It's going to be tough. I mean, like you, I'm living on Social Security, and that's not going up. So we're being hit from all sides. And it's, as they say in Britain, bloody awful.
Thank you.
I can't recall the exact items on the budget offhand, but what I did recall was a woman came here last week. By the way, I think the last board meeting we had was the best board meeting I've ever been to. We had a man come in from the township and tell us exactly what was going on with the water. And we had two women come in and tell us about our insurance, why we can't get it, how they were able to get it for us. And one of the things she said is, we cut our take so that you could afford it. They cut their, if it was 15, I don't remember the numbers, but she said if it was 15%, we took 6 instead. And I looked over to Tom Claus, and my immediate thought was, I wonder if he would take a cut in salary to help us out. And the answer was no. So when figuring out the budget, I have to be in a room with people going item by item. Otherwise, I can't speak. But a couple of things brought to mind. The use of referendums on important issues regarding money. That means going back to the people, the residents, and asking them. And the use of assessments. I was a trustee on my board, co-op board in Brooklyn. And we used assessments where we could afford to do something for a nominal fee. There's also the use of raising money. We have the ability to raise money. And I think we should consider that for some of the less expensive things that we need. And we're all in need. We're not wants. Not right now. We're all in need now.
Thank you. Thank you.
I agree that the budget needs to be picked apart and looked over very carefully. The one thing that I am really interested in maintaining is the structural viability of the village. The structures of the streets, the homes, this is where what we want to live. If my house isn't painted for a couple of years, that's fine, as long as I know it's structurally sound. As long as I know the storm drains are working and I'm not flooding. As long as I'm not tripping over the sidewalks. So the basic structure of the village should come first. Now, yes, we do need a lot of oversight on the contractors. We should be at their planning sessions. Most contractors have planning meetings weekly or bi-weekly. Board members should be at that meeting. Whether we assign 1 or 2 to be at the meeting, they should be there. So we have to look at a board exactly at everything on the budget, but there are certain things, and these are all expensive items, to maintain the structural integrity of the village, and everything else is more negotiable. But again, everything needs to be picked apart.
Thank you.
Hi, I would just like to discuss the insurance and the MUA for a minute. The insurance is extremely expensive, as you know, and insuring a place as large as this, it's like unavoidable, and we kind of shot ourselves in the foot with the fires. So, can't talk to that. But the MUA with the water, that's fascinating, because for all these years, we've had a set fee that we pay for the land water. And from what I read in our monthly newsletter, that was an agreement made a long time ago. I would like to know if anybody's taken a look at that contract to see if that agreement has a termination or not, or what they have to do to change it, or what we would have done that would have necessitated a change, because they may be doing something that they can't according to the arrangement that they originally made. I don't know that anybody's looked into that. I would love to see that contract to see if there was a way out. The last thing I'll say is I suggested a way to make money back in June, because Leisure Village West has a display screen when you first drive in. And on it, they do advertisements. They can do birthdays, anniversaries, things like that for a nominal fee for members. They can also advertise restaurants, like Village West is advertising the New Mexican restaurant. They get paid for all that. And that's a way of making money. You'd be surprised. But nothing was done with my suggestion. So I'll end it there.
Pass the mic down to Kathleen. You started the last one? Yeah. Okay, Debbie, you start the next one. Okay.
Okay. What committees are you a member of, and what are your responsibilities on it?
I was a member of the budget committee for 3 years, and my responsibility was to help them to do the budget and to take care of the budget.
Thank you.
I'm not on any committees.
It could have been a committee not in this village.
Repeat the question. I don't think
Oh, okay, it's not said there. Oh, okay. The way they wanted it to read is, what committees are you or were you a member of, and what were your responsibilities?
Not necessarily in the village.
I'm not a member of any committees.
Okay, thank you.
Back in the day, I was the chair of what was called then the regime reps, which I hated. I was also a founding member of the Quality of Life. I actually chaired that. I volunteer outside the village with the Red Cross. I volunteer at blood drives and so on. And I'm also involved in a 12-step program. I'm a sponsor to a number of people.
The only committee that I'm a volunteer on a lot of clubs, but the only committee that I am on here is the chair of the pool, but I haven't even done that yet. I am just in name only. But I was on the Board of Trustees of my co-op in Brooklyn. And we had meetings like this with the people in the building. And those, when I had the good fortune of getting in on the ground floor to buy my co-op when buildings were converting back in the 80s. And I finally found an apartment, beautiful apartment, $85,000. It was a dream. I loved it. Within months of buying that apartment, we got hit with a recession, and the value of my apartment dropped to $29,000. And it was the whole building who came together to bring that up. We brought it up. I sold my apartment it was going for $325,000 when I finally sold it. But we did it, and we did it. They had a lawyer who was being disbarred. So one of the guys in the building was a CPA, and we formed a board, and we got together, and he pulled us out of it. So it was quite an experience.
In the village, I was on the board for about 6 months, filling in, so that's the head committee here. I'm also on the Personnel and Labor Committee, formerly the CCTV, which is now the Media Committee, and the ADR Committee. In my work life, I was on basically every committee in the school as the union rep in the building. In the city, I was on the Science Development Committee, which also provided professional development, curriculum development, and I was on the New York State Committee for science curriculum. and there are probably a lot more that I have no recollection of.
Thank you. Thank you.
In the brief stint on the board, I was a member of the Budget Committee and gave them a few suggestions, one of which was the video that Village West has to make money, which didn't get picked up on. I wonder why. It's certainly making money for West. That's about the only committee I can think of, other than a negotiating committee where I was in the union and negotiated a contract with British Airways. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, who hasn't started?
I started, so don't put.
Okay. All right, Benji, ahead. We're going to go with you. What do you feel is your best expertise to bring to the board? And what would you do to bring more transparency to the village?
I don't know about expertise, but the best thing I have to bring to the board is integrity. I believe what I believe based on the facts I see, based on discussions with everybody else. So I guess the best element I have would be to listen and learn and evaluate. And what was the second part of the question, please? Transparency. As I have mentioned, I do believe that every owner needs to know what we're doing. I do believe that we need to have the board respond to them, whether they come up with an answer immediately or just know that they're not forgotten. And again, possibly have more meetings, possibly through the clubs that are already set up and other things we can do to let the village know what we are doing.
Thank you. Okay, Paulette?
What was the first part of the question? The second was transparency. What was the first part?
What do you feel is your best expertise to bring to the board?
Okay, my expertise is, I think, for me, the law. I'm a rule follower. I believe rules are in place for society to function. Without them, we're in chaos. When they say that the driving is 25 miles an hour, they don't mean 35 because you're not going to get ticketed until you hit 35. They mean 25. So I'm a rule follower. I agree with that. As far as transparency, we are you. If I'm on the board, I am you. I represent you. And I believe in telling you everything that went down and why it went down. Because that's how I maintain my integrity and my honesty. But I don't believe that it should be, and this is nothing personal, it should be one person of the board going out and telling their friends. I believe that it should be announced to everybody at the same time. I don't believe in, because rumors start, and the worst thing you can do is have to deal with a rumor. And I would stay away from that. But if you want transparency, you have to be trusted. And you have to give trust, too.
Communication. Being a retired teacher, I did have to communicate well. And to me, communication is two ways. It's a dialogue. And I'm also pretty good at research as well, which I rely on to make informed decisions. With regards to transparency, again, I have to come back to communication, being open. What you see is what you get. Try and be authentic. Be truthful, even though sometimes truth hurts. And keeping things simple. Simple and clear.
It has to go to Kathleen, because you started, Debbie.
No. Benji started, it goes to Kathleen.
Oh,
Then we're okay.
okay,
I
so
got
it goes to Debbie.
What's the question?
I'm on the board.
What do you bring to the
can you bring to the table?
What do you feel is your best expertise?
My best expertise is financial management of condo associations.
Okay, and what do you bring, and what would you do to bring more transparency to the village?
The best thing for transparency would be I'm honest and trustworthy, and I believe that you could call me or email me at any time and I will answer you. I believe that's transparency. I believe that the owners are responsible to hear from me what's going on. And I think that they need to hear that from me. So if you email me or call me, you're going to get an answer.
Thank you. Thank you.
For me, I think probably what I would bring is my ability to listen. The board members need to hear what you say, you need to hear what we say. And the ability to bring that together, I think, is where I could have an impact. In terms of transparency, it kind of works the same in that if we're communicating and we are letting you know what's happening, it works so much better and everybody can be on board with what we need to do.
Thank you. Thank you. And the only one that didn't answer was Harvey.
Yeah, it has to go back to Harvey.
I really have to explain transparency, really?
I think I'm going to answer the second question first about transparency, because any of you who know me from the Facebook site know that what I can be transparent about, I am, but I stick to the rules that are in the ethics agreement. However, one of the reasons I got suspended was my apparent transparency, okay, which at an ADR was determined that I did nothing wrong. I won the decision on that ADR, much to their chagrin. Okay, that takes care of transparency, so you know I'm good for that. I am an owner first and a trustee second, okay? And what I'm best at is representing people. I represented all of British Airways North American union members. And I represent people by being with them and knowing what their priorities are, not being elected on a board and feeling I know better and treat you as a parent and telling you what's best for you. That's not me.
Thank you, Harvey.
No.
Okay, thank you candidates for the Board of Trustees. We have now finished the question section, and we are going to start with Kathleen for the sum up. So you have 3 minutes. If you want to take a few minutes to gather your thoughts, you can, because now we're going to have the section where you're going to be able to sum up what you want to say. Okay? Thank you.
If you rather stand, you could stand. If you want to sit, you could sit. Do whatever makes you
I guess
comfortable.
I'll sit. I don't have a lot more that I wanted to say, but I will say that I hope and I fully intend to work to bring us back together. I think we have, between the board and the owners, a great divide, and I would work to bring us back together, both through better communication and second, through accountability. The days of ignoring unit owners' calls and emails is over.
You want to give your sum up now?
Yeah, okay.
Deborah?
Yeah. I'm honest and trustworthy. I can do the job, and I would be happy if you would vote for me. I think I could do a financial management to take care of the wrongs that have been wronged with the board. I think that I would be good on the board, and I would appreciate if you would vote for me.
Thank you. Sue Farrell.
It's me. I think I've said it all during the questions, but I love this village. I love the community, and I just hope that we can bring the community together a lot more. I value being a resident, and as such, I would very much value your input as well, should I get on the board, to get everybody involved to the extent that they want to be involved. And like I said before, you know, what you see is what you get. I've no frills, no spills, and if you don't like it, then okie dokie.
Okay, Paulette.
Okay, I just wanted to go back. Remember you said I could revisit it?
Yes.
About the buses?
Well, you can bring up in your 3 minutes what you want.
Yeah. I'm going to start with that. The thing that most concerns me about those buses, these people lost their freedom when they lost their wheels.
Correct.
And the big thing in this, in a retirement community is relevance. We like to keep relevant. So that's why it's important to find out what they need. Okay, just real quickly, I'd like to employ the use of referendums, assessments, and follow-up. Big on follow-up, so nothing falls through the cracks. I think the ideas of the residents should be bounced off back and forth with the board, and we can get a lot of ideas from them how to do things. Anticipation, we know what's coming down the pike, we know what we're going to be dealing with, especially in the next couple of years, and we should be ahead of that. And I enjoy friendly relationships with a lot of people in here. I love them. They're my neighbors, they're my friends, and I don't see that changing if I ever get on the board. Prioritizing, I'm good with that. I want this to become a functional board where the residents are happy. And I just want to say 2 more things. What I do for you, I do for me. And I'm here to fight for you, not with you.
Thank you. Angie.
Thank you. First of all, I want to say that we have 6 very good candidates up here, and it's going to be a very hard job for you to choose the best ones for a board, because we're basically on the same page, which is good for the people going to be working together. But for me, I want to tell you I'm going to be working for the village. As a resident, I want to make this the best village. I don't want to hear, well, East has this, West has that, the other. It should be us. We're number 1, we're the first village. They're all problems. And you need people with integrity to solve the problems. It also needs to be communicated to every single owner what we're doing, getting ideas from you. Now I want to say right up front, I am not going to work for a person. I'm working for the village, because there may be factions. Some people like things, some people don't. But as I've said previously, I have integrity. I will look at the facts. I will discuss the facts with the people I'm working with. I will discuss the facts and the ideas with all the people at the villages at the various meetings we're going to have. And then we will have a thoughtful and just decision from the board, which will be shared with you. Everybody may not like it, but we're going to do the best for the village on this board. If I'm on the board, that's my priority, doing the best for the village.
Thank you.
I'd like to echo something that Benji just said. I think the nominees this time around are very good. And I think we have a unique opportunity here to put a majority of this board on the right track. And that's what I'd like to see. there are a couple of things that I would live by being on this board and have. I'm sure some of you who have read some of the things on the Facebook site that I was on that I got chastised for, know that I did everything I could to do away with rumors that were usually started at Buckingham Pool and fill them with facts. And for that I got suspended. I want to make sure when I'm on this board that nobody ever gets treated the way I did. That gets suspended with no meeting, no Harvey to defend himself, and no minutes. And that's a violation of the Radburn Act.
Correct.
Okay? And not having an announced meeting is a violation of our bylaws, which haven't been updated in 30 years, which I wanted to do. And yes, I want to see some. Okay, here's what I want to say, and this is straight from the ethics agreement that everybody has to sign that gets on this board. Claims of privacy and confidentiality shall not be used to impede the proper flow of information to which the owners are legally entitled. Think about what that says. And also, no member shall willingly misrepresent facts to owners by withholding, distorting, or fabricating information. I wouldn't mention all that unless I thought that was what was happening. Okay, I don't want to see that again. I want to be on this board at a time when we have a unique opportunity to raise the bar and make it a board you can be proud of.
Okay, I want to thank all the candidates for coming tonight. I think it was very informative. Like Harvey said, I think we have 6 really good candidates, and I want to thank you for your time. I hope that the people here tonight got to meet you, got to know you better and what you stand for. And I think that with 4 seats to fill, we can shape the board for the next few years coming. We have a lot of issues, serious issues that are facing this village. I know my election committee loved the village just like I do, and thank you, and I hope for the best for our village and that we can maintain our village and have our happy place. Thank you.